Neediness doesn't always come in loud, obvious forms. Most men don't realize they're doing it. They think they're being attentive, kind, interested, but what she feels is pressure. What she senses is a subtle emotional dependency, and nothing dries up attraction faster than that. And here's the harsh truth. You don't even have to say anything needy to come off that way. Your energy, your timing, your micro-decisions, they all speak for you. And when they speak from lack, from insecurity, from hope that she'll complete you, you lose presence, you lose mystery, you lose power. Women are not listening to your words. They're scanning your energy. They're reading the space between what you say. And when that space says, "Please like me," everything changes, and not in your favor. But here's the good news. Neediness isn't a personality trait. It's a pattern, and patterns can be broken. In this breakdown, we're going to expose 5 subtle behaviors that are signaling neediness, and how to replace them with the grounded, sovereign energy that actually pulls her in. Let's start with the first one. The first subtle thing that makes you look needy is texting too quickly or too often. You might think you're just being polite, replying fast, showing you're interested, keeping the conversation alive. But what she feels isn't presence. It's pressure. It tells her, "I'm just sitting here, waiting for you to respond. My day revolves around your reply." You don't have to say you're obsessed. The timing of your response already revealed it. High-value men are not glued to their phones. They're not scanning for every ping. They're not refreshing the chat every 5 minutes. Why? Because they have lives, missions, focus. Their energy isn't dependent on a message. Want to flip the script? Slow down. Not to play a game, but to reflect your pace, your control, your presence. When you reply with calm timing, not instant need, it sends a signal. You're not the center of my world. I have gravity. And that gravity, that's what pulls her in. Because when a man isn't anxious to respond, he becomes the one she's anxious to hear from. The second subtle behavior that screams neediness is over-clarifying your intentions. You say something bold and immediately water it down. You give a compliment and follow it with, "I didn't mean anything by it." You share your opinion and quickly add, "But that's just me. I don't want to offend." It sounds harmless, even polite, but what she feels is, this man lacks conviction. Here's the truth. Women don't test your opinions. They test your belief in them. She doesn't care if you agree on everything. She cares if you stand on something. With calm, with presence, without backtracking. When you over-clarify, you're signaling that you want to be accepted more than you want to be respected. But the Stoic man? He speaks once, clearly, without seeking approval. And if she challenges him, he doesn't over-explain. He lets the silence carry his confidence. You don't earn her attraction by proving you're safe. You earn it by proving you're centered. And a man who can speak without defending becomes a man she starts to wonder about. Before we go further, if this is hitting you on a deeper level, now's the time. Subscribe and hit the bell, because what's coming next will transform the way you lead as a man. If this resonates with you, hit subscribe and tap the bell. The next part goes even deeper. The third subtle thing that makes you look needy is always being available. You might think you're showing interest, being reliable, showing up like a good man should, but what she feels is this. You have no mission. When you respond within seconds to every message, when you're always free to hang out, when you cancel your plans just because she hints she might be bored, you've just communicated one thing. Your time has no weight. And a man whose time has no weight has no gravity. Women are not attracted to availability. They're drawn to value. And value comes from scarcity, from a man who's on a path, who has priorities, who's not ignoring her, but who doesn't orbit her either. The Stoic man moves with purpose. He creates space, not as a tactic, but because his life demands it. And when he gives his time, it means something. It lands differently. So if you want to stop looking needy, start by owning your time. Don't explain why you're busy. Don't apologize for being focused. Let her feel the truth, that you are already full, and any attention you give is a conscious choice. And that, more than anything, builds respect. The fourth subtle behavior that screams neediness is over-communicating. You text too much. You share too soon. You open up emotionally, not because it's natural, but because you want a reaction, her approval, her attention, her comfort. It's not the vulnerability itself that's the problem. It's the timing and intent behind it. When a man starts revealing his emotional world before trust is earned, before polarity is built, he flips the dynamic. He turns her into his emotional anchor, and that's pressure, not attraction. Women don't want to be your therapist. They don't want to feel responsible for your emotional stability. They want to feel your strength, your self-containment, your ability to carry your own emotional weight. The Stoic man knows when to speak and when to hold back. He doesn't unload to be validated. He shares when it's true, not when it's strategic. He doesn't use words to get attention. He lets his energy carry the weight of his presence. So if you want to stop being seen as needy, ask yourself before you speak or text, am I sharing to connect or to be comforted? And if it's the latter, pause. Because emotional restraint isn't about being distant, it's about being deliberate. And the man who's deliberate with his energy becomes the one she wants to understand more. The fifth subtle behavior that makes you look needy is a lack of emotional sovereignty. This means your mood rises and falls based on her actions. If she texts, you're on top of the world. If she doesn't, your energy drops. If she's sweet, you're confident. If she's cold, you spiral. This tells her that your emotional world is reactive, not grounded. That you're not a man centered in himself, but a man whose inner state is controlled by someone else. And women feel this deeply. It makes her feel like she holds too much power, that she has to manage your state. And even if she likes you, this imbalance slowly kills attraction, because it removes polarity. A Stoic man is emotionally sovereign. His mood is set by his mission, not by her mood. His energy is consistent, not because he's faking it, but because he's cultivated inner calm. He doesn't need to feel good to act with clarity. He acts with clarity, and that creates his emotional baseline. So if you want to reclaim your power, stop tying your confidence to her behavior. Breathe, reflect, get back to your path. Let your purpose be your source of validation, not her reaction. Because when a woman realizes that she can't shake your center, that she's stepping into a life that already has structure, rhythm, and direction, that's when she starts to truly respect and desire you. Emotional sovereignty isn't coldness, it's leadership. And in a world full of emotionally dependent men, it's what makes you unforgettable. So let's take a step back and really understand why these subtle needy behaviors destroy attraction, even when your intentions are good. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you're unworthy. It's because neediness communicates one thing louder than any words ever could. I don't feel whole without you. And that energy is the opposite of what women are biologically drawn to. See, feminine energy is always searching for a grounded, steady masculine presence to mirror itself against. If she feels like she's the stable one, the emotionally mature one, the one leading the connection, it flips the polarity, and polarity is what creates attraction. Now here's the paradox. You don't fix neediness by pretending to be detached. You fix it by actually becoming whole, by building a life that's fulfilling regardless of who is or isn't in it, by finding peace in solitude, by creating meaning without needing validation. This is the heart of Stoic attraction. It's not about being cold or aloof. It's about becoming so grounded in your values, your mission, and your presence that any connection becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. The man who is emotionally full doesn't ask, "How can I make her like me?" He asks, "Do I like myself when I'm with her?" That shift in perspective changes everything. Because now, your actions come from abundance, not scarcity. Your energy feels calm, not chaotic, and she can feel the difference. Stay grounded. Let's keep going. Here's the deeper truth most men don't realize. Neediness isn't a behavior. It's a frequency, a subtle emotional tone that women can feel before you even open your mouth. It shows up in how long you take to respond to a message, not because you're busy, but because you're anxious. It shows up in how you watch her facial expressions, constantly checking if she's still interested. It shows up when you try too hard to be agreeable, hoping to avoid tension or rejection. And women? They pick up on it instantly, not because they're looking to reject you, but because their intuition is trained to detect emotional incongruence. If your words say, "I'm confident," but your energy says, "Please like me," she feels the gap, and the attraction dies. So what's the fix? It's not in doing more, it's in being more. More centered, more self-sufficient, more at peace with who you are. Here's a practice. For 1 week, remove the question, "What does she think of me?" from your mind. Replace it with, "Am I aligned with my standards?" This rewires your emotional operating system. It brings you back to center. Because when a man doesn't need attention to feel valuable, his presence becomes magnetic. He's not trying to win her over. He's inviting her into a world that's already whole. And that invitation is rare. There's a reason neediness repels women at a subconscious level. It signals that you haven't yet mastered yourself. Think about it. When your happiness depends on her text, her tone, her level of attention, you've handed over your emotional stability. That's not confidence. That's emotional outsourcing. And it's the opposite of what creates desire. A high-value man doesn't need constant proof that he matters. He already knows. He moves from purpose, not performance. From internal clarity, not external approval. That's why when he enters a room, he doesn't scan for validation. He anchors the energy, and women feel it without a word. So here's your reminder. Stop trying to get her to pick you. Start asking, "Do I pick myself today?" Because the man who owns his attention, his time, his energy, becomes the man she wants to chase. Not because he begged, but because he didn't. The final subtle behavior that makes you look needy is when you try to fix the vibe too quickly. Let's say she seems distant. Maybe she's not as responsive, or her energy feels off. Most men immediately panic. They lean in, they ask, "Is everything okay?" They try to force connection. But here's the truth. Emotional tension is not a problem to solve. It's a space to hold. When you rush to fix, you signal discomfort with feminine emotional flow. You tell her, without saying a word, that you need reassurance more than she needs space. And that imbalance, it crushes polarity. A Stoic man does the opposite. He notices the shift and relaxes even more. He allows space, he stays present, and he trusts that his calm energy is enough, because it is. That stillness is what creates safety, and safety is what invites her back. So stop filling the silence, stop chasing the vibe, stop trying to fix the emotional weather. Just be the mountain, let her storm pass. And when she does return, she'll return with more respect, more desire, more curiosity, because you proved you're the kind of man who can contain her without controlling her. That's not just attractive, that's rare. And in today's world, rare is magnetic. This is how you stop looking needy and start becoming unforgettable. This is marble masculinity.